Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, August 10, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at Climatology, this map is showing the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020, and we should be somewhere right down in here. It is August 10, so we're right at the part before we start to rise in terms of activity for sure. Usually by mid-August we start to see a lot of activity across the Atlantic in general, both tropical storms if not hurricanes. So get ready for all of that activity in the next month or two. Definitely going to be starting to see a lot of things taking place in the Atlantic. And this map right here is showing all of the tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin based on data from 1851 to 2023. And this is encompassing the time period from August 11 to August 20. All of these yellow dots represent what we've seen some kind of storm form, a lot of them across the main development region, Eastern Caribbean, the Southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, the Western Caribbean, and right here across the Eastern to the Central Pacific. And we see all of the lines representing where these systems have tracked, a lot of them passing to the south of Jamaica, a lot of them crossing over Jamaica. Very interesting. Let us see if we actually get anything to formulate during this time period, August 11 to August 20, over the next 10 days. And the typical tracks and origins are on point. We see a lot of activity formulating across the main development region, some of them pushing into the Caribbean, ending up into the Gulf, some of them pushing to the north of the Caribbean, heading up into the Bahamas, Florida, or curving out to sea right here to the east of the United States. We also have to look at the update regarding the sea surface temperature anomalies. The sea surface temperature basically, it shows how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean, and all of these yellows into the oranges represent that warm water. This is what fuels these storms in general, making them easier to become tropical depressions, if not tropical storms or hurricanes. And we see a lot of that across the main development region, into the Caribbean, the Gulf, right here to the east of the United States. And we also see that we don't have an El Nino. El Nino is when we have a very warmer than normal sea surface temperatures across the eastern to the central Pacific. We're not seeing a La Nina yet, but it's on its way there. It's still a neutral like pattern that we're experiencing. We basically know that when it's neutral like, or if not La Nina like, we have more rising air across the Atlantic and the Caribbean, a lot of sinking air over this side of the world. But if it's an El Nino, where we have warmer than normal sea surface temperatures, we have more rising air, more storms over this part of the world, thus creating a lot of upper level wind shear that we know tears the tops of the thunderstorms associated with tropical waves, tropical storms off, making it harder for them to develop. So we don't have an El Nino right now. We have a Beryl-like weather. This is the condition that we had when we had Hurricane Beryl, neutral-like pattern. So let's see if we actually get some more systems to form out here in the Atlantic. And we need to recognize that it's not only about how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean. As you can see, this came out on August 9. Look at this one. This one came out today, August 10. This one is showing the ocean heat content. This is basically showing how warm the waters are the deeper we go into the ocean. All of these yellows into the oranges and reds, especially in and around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, south of Cuba to the east of the Yucatan, a lot of deep warm water. And if we actually get a system to sit on top of that and stall out, it's just going to be churning up even more warm water and strengthening for sure. Boy, the warm waters definitely across the central to the western Caribbean for the most part. Let's see if we actually get something to use up some of this warm water. We don't want it to happen, but it could. Let's see exactly what unfolds. Alright, let us see what's happening on the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. This just came out at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:40 p.m. Jamaica time. As you can see, we're still watching that code yellow right here to the north of the main development region. It has a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Let us see what the Hurricane Center has stated. But before we even look at that, yes, we have the code yellow. We still have that code red off the coast of Africa that has a high chance of development within the next 7 days as it pushes off towards the west and then possibly towards the northwest. And if we take a look at the infrared right here at these entities, we can see the clouds associated with that code yellow not looking impressive. Thunderstorms have definitely diminished in the last 12 hours. While the other system right here of the coast of Africa definitely looking even more impressive. Pretty sure that they got some decent rainfall across the Cabo Verde Islands today. They're still getting in on some of that activity as we speak. Let us read what the Hurricane Center has stated as of recently. Alright, so they've stated here, disorganized showers and thunderstorms continue in association with a trough of low pressure located over the central tropical Atlantic. Some gradual development is possible during the middle part of this week while the system moves northward over the central Atlantic. And with that, they've given the area a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. But regarding the code red, they have a lot of information regarding this. They've stated here, showers and thunderstorms continue to show signs of organization in association with a well-defined low-pressure area located about 100 miles east of the Cabo Verde Islands. Only a small increase in the organization could lead to the formation of a tropical depression before the low moves near or across the Cabo Verde Islands tonight and on Monday. Regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds are possible today and Monday across the Cabo Verde Islands, and interest there should monitor the progress of the system. Even if a tropical depression does not form over the next day or so, environmental conditions appear very conducive for later development, and a tropical depression or tropical storm is likely to form by the middle to latter portion of this week, while moving west to northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. And with that, they've given the area a 50% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So basically, they're stating that we could get tropical depression number ABCDE 5 by tonight. So by the 10 p.m. update, tropical depression number 5, if not tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. And then we'll know what comes next. Not going to be Dexter, but Erin. That's the next name on the list as we have here. Let's see if we actually even get Fernan before all is said and done with August. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have broken lines right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic associated with some troughs. There's a tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. We can also see the area of low pressure right here to the north of that tropical wave. We can see that area that the Hurricane Center is watching for a high chance of development. All of these entities being steered from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities. The clouds associated with that area that the Hurricane Center gives a low chance of development within the next 7 days. And we see the clouds associated with that tropical wave. Right in here, we can definitely see the clouds moving. We can also see some moisture ahead of it as well, affecting the Windward Islands. And we can definitely see the clouds associated with that area that has a high chance of development within the next 7 days for sure. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, August 10, 2025. If you remember yesterday's video, we actually highlighted that in the early morning hours, there could be some rainfall across sections of some northern and eastern parishes, and we definitely got that. Definitely had some morning rainfall across sections of Portland and eastern St. Thomas for sure. Even although it was not predicted, it was definitely showed on the models but weren't mentioned. But what was mentioned was the rainfall during the afternoon across sections of some central and western parishes. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 1:25 p.m., the infrared satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page Weather Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the thunderstorms that were taking place across sections of some central and western parishes, more so some south central and western parishes for sure. All of the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds representing the cumulonimbus cloud cover, and the sparkling white, that's how we know represents some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. We definitely had a lot of lightning across sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, section of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover for sure. And another post was made at around 3:19 p.m. highlighting the live camera from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing some light rainfall across halfway through. We saw that the ground was soaking wet. They were definitely setting up at the time for the JLP rally, I believe. But as you can see, they definitely got some rainfall, just as predicted. Even though we know that Kingston St. Andrew is classified as an eastern parish, we know that sometimes some of this rainfall can leak into that area as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost sunlight, we can definitely make out all of the clouds bringing some overcast skies and some isolated thunder showers, if not scattered showers, across sections of some central and western parishes before all was said and done, across sections of western Portland, section of St. Mary, St. Anne, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, sections of St. Andrew definitely gotten on that rainfall, but not much rainfall across central to eastern Portland, St. Thomas at all, or even Hanover. The most part, Hanover didn't get on much of anything, and that's a good thing, right, Ryan? Finally getting a day of sunshine. And if we take a look at the infrared right here, confirming all of the thunderstorms that took place today, we can see the convection that blew up, especially across sections of some south central and western parishes for sure. Definitely had that thunderstorm activity across sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, southwestern St. Mary, St. Anne, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, western Hanover for sure. Definitely gotten on the brunt of today's thunderstorms. And if we take a look at the camera here, we have a brand new live camera. This is the Little London in Westmoreland camera, and they indeed got in on some amount of rainfall. We see that it was soaking wet. I'm definitely going to be looking at this camera even more than normal, because you know that they get more rainfall in Westmoreland than in Kingston for sure. And as you can see here, they definitely got some decent rainfall over there today in Westmoreland. You can see the vehicles going by with their windshield wipers on to confirm that they did indeed get some amount of rainfall for sure. And this was at around 2:46 p.m. And we even had some rainfall. We already showed this one, but definitely you can see one individual right here walking with their umbrella while they were setting up. Had some rainfall in the halfway tree area as well. And even if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some central and western parishes. And we definitely have confirmation from some of our followers on our Twitter page. We have Louise Ann right here stating raining here in Cooper's Hill. That's in St. Andrew. Definitely sending a video here of the rainfall taking place in her neck of the woods. I'm sure she is grateful for the rainfall and the cool down. Even on our Facebook page, we had Randale Green stating, good evening, Weather Jamaica. Happy Sunday to you and your family. Enough love to you and your family. Enough love. We have some rain with some thunderstorm in Brownstone. Thanks for confirming, Randale. We have Tanya Campbell stating lovely showers in Kingston 8. We also have the Weekend Living stating little rain start fall, and in a split second my light gone to backside. We have 1KD_KK stating rain here in Barbican. We also have Francis_Samoya stating Maypen, rain, lightning and thunder. Unique_chance stating finally getting a little rain in Portmore. Thank you, Jesus. We have Marcia Chin stating Kingston rain. Mama_bear_Nisha stating pure thunder, not a drop of rain. I'll know. Still waiting the drops on my roof in St. Catherine. We also have Princess Angel Love stating raining in Duane Park. Still, I'm so glad I may not have to fight you when we see you again with it. Alright, my dear. We have a Nick stating showers of blessing. Thank you, Lord. We need it. I'm waiting for it to start. Even on our YouTube page, we had the comments coming in. Randale again confirming the rainfall in his area 2 hours ago. We also have Great stating definitely having those intense thunderstorms in St. Catherine. They are popping up all over the place right now like popcorn. We have Stria Compassion stating rain in Kingston and St. Andrew. We have Real Mac 101 stating not much rain on the Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth border. Lots of thunder is still going. And we have Citrian stating rain fell heavily in Lacovia today. Thank you all for confirming what the weather was like in your area today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 23:55 UTC, which is actually 6:55 p.m. So this just came out 8 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:03 p.m. right now. And as you can see, most of the clouds that brought the rainfall across the island definitely dissipated. We have some leftover clouds across sections of Clarendon and Manchester though. Wonder if we have rainfall beneath all of those clouds. But we can definitely see that we have rainfall to the west of us right here, to the southwest of Westmoreland, wherever we have the thunderstorms, wherever we have the lightning, definitely have rainfall out there. We also see some rainfall to the south of that, and we see some rainfall right here to the east of Portland. And we're going to be confirming with the Doppler radar imagery. Unfortunately, it looks like the Jamaican Doppler radar glitched out today. I'm pretty sure that it glitched out due to a power outage. I'm pretty sure that all of the lightning where the Doppler radar is located right up here in Cooper's Hill caused it to glitch out. It glitched out at 18:04 UTC. I believe that was about 1:04 p.m. Jamaica time, if I'm not mistaken. And if we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar, of course it glitched out as well. Glitched out at around 9:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 8:40 a.m. Jamaica time. Let us see the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar. We're reloading that, and we're also reloading the latest Cayman radar to confirm. Alright, so of course the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar is going to show us that rainfall just to the east of Portland. There it is, the greens into the yellows, some moderate to heavy rainfall right there to the east of Portland. Definitely in line with what we just saw on the infrared right here to the east of Portland. So we're seeing the rainfall under these clouds. The Cayman radar now, do we see the rainfall to the southwest of Westmoreland? It should be right over here. And there we go. We see the rain bands right here, and to the south of that we have that rain band as well. Definitely in line with what we just saw on the infrared satellite image. And if we take a look at what's happening right now on the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. This is not a politics channel at all, but we're looking at See Jamaica's YouTube channel right here. Halfway through, we can see that it is definitely fair. A lot of people out in their greens, out in their numbers to support their party for sure. And the evening should definitely be fair for the most part. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at all. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just go over to See Jamaica on YouTube right now. We have 162 people watching right now. You can go over there and see for yourself what's taking place. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays that we know represents a 0 on the key on the right. And the zeros represents average temperatures. And we know the average temperature for the month of August across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So that should be Jamaica's temperature for Monday. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat. And we need to also highlight that we didn't see any maintenance outage advisories from my JPS online Twitter page for Monday, so we're grateful for that either way. If tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, we have some tips right here. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we can see the abundance of dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region. Some of this dry air entrailing into portions of the Caribbean as we speak. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. And we can definitely see that. While we also see a lot of moist air in the blues across the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic, into portion of the southeastern Caribbean, the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, as well as of the coast of Central America. We know that the moist air is responsible for bringing us clouds and rainfall in general, and we'd rather have more of that across the Atlantic for sure, more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, unfortunately, it does indeed seem like the Saharan dust is making a comeback on August 13. Look at that, pushing through into the Jamaica here by August 13. So we only have August 11 and August 12 left to enjoy, and then August 13 into 14. We're going to be getting in on quite a decent plume of Saharan dust for sure. We know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses in some persons. So it's definitely on its way. But as you can see right behind that, we're going to be in for a little of a lull of a break from the Saharan dust that's definitely needed. So I hope that you all have your meds handy. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the lowest waves are across the Bahamas into the Gulf, where we have the light shades of blues that represents the 0 to 0.5 of a meter wave height, while we have the dark blues into the purples across the Caribbean into the waters to the north of Colombia. That represents anywhere from 1.5 meter wave height all the way up to 2 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly flow of the wind, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 up to 20 knots, especially to the north of Colombia and northwestern Venezuela. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast, first time in a long time we've seen high wave heights like this. 1.2 meter wave height to the north of Portland, to the south of St. Thomas, 1.3 meter wave height, to the south of Clarendon, 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne, 1 meter wave height, to the north of Hanover, 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the south of Westmoreland, 0.8 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly, if not southeasterly kind of flow across the island for sure, averaging about 15 knots to the south of St. Thomas, same thing to the south of Manchester, 14 knots to the north of St. Anne, to the north of Portland, 13 knots. And we see where the air is expected to pile up, maybe across section of some northern and western parishes. That's where we have the least amount of wind. So that could be where we get some of these low-level clouds to become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And tomorrow, the upper-level winds are coming in from the south. So if we actually get some thunderstorms tomorrow, the thunderstorm clouds, the cloud tops aren't going to be blowing off towards the southwest like what happened today. Thunderstorm clouds are going to be blowing off towards the north. And if we're going to be getting the air piling up across the northern and western end of the island, most of those thunderstorm clouds are going to be pushing off to that direction, so not necessarily bring any form of cloud cover or rainfall to section of southern Jamaica at all. So northern parishes, that's where the rainfall is expected tomorrow. So anywhere from let's say St. Mary westward, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, sections of Hanover, maybe spilling into sections of Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, northern St. Catherine, section of St. Andrew as usual. And this map from the GFS is valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. So look out for that afternoon rainfall on Monday. We didn't see much of anything for the morning. The Euro, as usual, showing a lot of rainfall across the eastern to the western end, but we're more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing for the afternoon. Definitely some more rainfall for northern and western parishes. So today it was southern Jamaica. You notice usually when it's southern Jamaica getting the rainfall, northern Jamaica isn't getting the rainfall. When northern Jamaica is getting the rainfall, southern Jamaica is not getting. So we just have to take it like that. It's a flip-flop kind of situation when it comes to Jamaica's weather. So tomorrow is definitely your turn in Hanover, Ryan, and those people who live in St. James definitely going to be getting on that afternoon rainfall. And if it actually rains in some southern parishes, it's going to be across the northern edges of those southern parishes, and with the exception of Westmoreland for sure. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Up to 0.53 of an inch of rainfall on the Euro. The GFS still showing some of that rainfall from today on this map in the southwest. We're done with that. Either way, I'm looking at this 0.58 right here across the northwest. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of August, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 50 millimeters, well, 100 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston for the month of August. In Montego Bay, we usually receive around 5 inches of rainfall for the month of August. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of August or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key and the red. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Monday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Tuesday. And as you can see, 12Z, which is actually 7 a.m. on Tuesday, has a lot of rainfall to the southwest of Jamaica. We also see some isolated showers across the far eastern end. What does Tuesday afternoon look like? We see the greens represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? We're working with the GFS. GFS for the morning, nothing, but we do see that rainfall to the southwest of us. Tuesday afternoon, though, we see that rainfall more so across the western end. Let us see what the Wednesday morning forecast looks like. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica on the Euro. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, nothing. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, interesting, the Euro is showing some rainfall to the east of us. Then on Thursday afternoon, what do we see? Didn't see much of anything. Interesting. Don't see much of anything on the Euro for Thursday afternoon. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday morning, nothing. Thursday afternoon, looks like some crazy rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting, especially across the waters to the southwest of us. Very interesting forecast for sure. We'll see what that actually plays out. We see a lot of dark greens into the yellows, but we don't see the consensus on the Euro at all. We'll see how that plays out. What do we see for Friday morning? On Friday morning, not really seeing much of anything. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. The GFS, what do we see? Friday morning, rainfall across the water source, south, north, and the east. Then on Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we also note the other system that the Hurricane Center is watching that has a high chance of development, still expected to pass just to the north of the Lesser Antilles, we see it popping up on both the Euro and the GFS smalls. The Euro a bit weaker, 997 millibars, the GFS 975 millibars. So it could be up to hurricane status according to the GFS. We'll see how that plays out. Not really paying this system any attention, especially considering that it's not going to be affecting land. That's why we're not looking at the spaghetti models or anything like that. But regarding Saturday and Sunday, Saturday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Saturday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across some southwestern parishes, and we're going to be stopping right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, August 17. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica, but there's the GFS show. Saturday morning, rainfall south of us, rainfall to the east of us. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across central and western parishes. Then stopping it at the end of the 168 hours as well. Maybe some isolated showers across the far eastern end. We'll see all of this plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until August 18. And we can see the dark reds into the purples and the pinks that represents what we see here on the queue on the right. That's the anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, especially for a portion of northern South America into Central America as usual. And we also see the trail of heavy rainfall associated with future tropical storm, if not Hurricane Erin, right here just to the north of the Lesser Antilles. We'll see all of that plays out either way. Clearly, everywhere else, from the Bahamas into the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles, shaded in the yellows, if not the reds, that represents anywhere from 0.3 of an inch all the way up to an inch or less of rainfall over the next 7 days. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall total for the next 7 days, the Euro is still a bit conservative with the rainfall, anywhere from the blues into the greens into the slight yellows, that represents anywhere from 1 millimeter all the way up to maybe 30 millimeters of rainfall from the eastern end to the western end. This rainfall is spread out over the next 7 days. GFS showing that rainfall in the greens and the yellows, still showing a lot of the rainfall that was expected today. Didn't really see much of that. It's still showing a lot of rainfall to come this evening, but boy, we're not really seeing that, are we? We're not seeing that at all. All of these thunderstorms have vanished. Well, the latest one right here showing that all of the thunderstorms have vanished for the most part, but we'll see if I actually get something to formulate this evening. Maybe by the time I wrap up the video, a crazy thunderstorm is affecting the southwest to confirm more rainfall to come from the GFS, or maybe that's just it. Alright, let us see what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean. We can see some moisture pushing through sections of Grenada, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of moisture across the southeastern US as we speak, Florida, section of Cuba, and the moisture associated with what's to develop into the next name system, Erin, over here stretching into Africa for sure. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, let us see what's happening near Puerto Rico. We can see some moisture to the north of Puerto Rico across southwestern Puerto Rico as we speak. Then if we load these images from earlier today, look at that, some heavy rainfall affected portion of northwestern Puerto Rico in these dark greens, yellows, oranges, reds. I'm sure they're grateful for that. The Barbados rainfall confirming that moisture that we just saw affecting sections of St. Vincent, sections of St. Lucia also in the mix. We also see some of that rainfall pushing into the Grenadines, just to the south and to the east of Grenada. Some of the rainfall also coming into section of Trinidad and Tobago, especially Tobago, getting in on some decent rainfall. And if we look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall across western Cuba, section of Florida, the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, section of Honduras, section of Venezuela. We also see some passing shores to the north of the ABC Islands. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that within the next 24 hours, we should be receiving rainfall wherever we have the greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds that represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to an inch of rainfall for portions of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, section of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, section of Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, Suriname, section of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, section of western Honduras, section of El Salvador, southern Guatemala, section of southeastern Belize, and northern portion of the Yucatan. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this 24-hour forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, let us see what's happening on the other side of the basin. We're looking at the Eastern Pacific. we see that we now have Hurricane Henriette right here to the northeast of the Hawaiian Islands, and to the east of Henriette we have Tropical Storm Ivo. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see both of these entities. We have Hurricane Henriette right in here, passing to the north of the Hawaiian Islands. We can even see an eye clearing out in there, and we see Ivo looking like it's dissipating as we speak right there to the southwest of the Baja Peninsula. And if we take a look at the statistics, as of right now, the Hurricane Center has stated that yes, Henriette shocked us. Didn't expect it to become a hurricane, but it definitely defied the odds and became a hurricane. It's actually an 80-mile-per-hour hurricane, so it's up there in the intensity. It's a category 1, anywhere from 74 to 95 mile-per-hour winds makes it a category 1 hurricane. It's expected to continue pushing off towards the northwest, and it's right now moving towards the northwest at 70 miles per hour. And we see that it's expected to downgrade back to a storm by the S by Tuesday evening, and even by Thursday morning back to a tropical depression. And regarding Tropical Storm Ivo, we see that's expected to downgrade back to a tropical depression very soon, possibly even dissipating as early as Tuesday morning. It is currently packing maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, so definitely a low-end tropical storm expected to continue moving off towards west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. And on the western Pacific side of things, we still see that we have Tropical Storm Podol right here to the east of the Philippines. And if we take a look at the infrared right here, we can see all of the clouds, the thunderstorms associated with it right here, pushing off towards the west as we speak. It's expected to clip northern Taiwan yesterday. Well, as a matter of fact, the day before yesterday, it was expected to make landfall in northern Taiwan. Yesterday, it shifted and said that it was going to pass just to the north of Taiwan. Now it's back to clipping northern Taiwan once again, and then pushing into eastern China. But look at the intensities now. Intensities are a bit different. If you remember yesterday, it was showing that it would have become a hurricane, a typhoon sooner. Now it's expected to become a typhoon just before it hits Taiwan. Look at that, 70 knot winds expected, and we know that anywhere from 65 to 83 knot winds are classified as a hurricane or a typhoon in this part of the world, and it could definitely lash Taiwan once again, another system lashing Taiwan once again before all is said and done, pushing right into China thereafter. We know that we have to highlight this part of the world because we know that we have friends and relatives who live or work there. It's not only about Jamaica all the time. I definitely have friends and relatives who live in Japan, but they're not getting on anything right now. But we have a lot of Jamaicans who live or work in Taiwan or China, so we have to pay close attention to the weather across the world. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.